This is the brief on the Great Ruler, episode 96. Okay, so today we're diving into a pretty crucial bit where our protagonist, Chen, and his friends, they get thrown right into this perilous ancient battlefield. It's one of the 5 great battlefields, Basically a deadly arena where all these groups are just fighting each other for points. First up, Chen's group lands on this massive, battle-scarred continent, and they learn the rules real quick. It's a harsh, big fish eats small fish kind of deal. With the point system, stronger groups hunt the weaker ones. They get 10 base points to start, and bam! Hundreds of other groups show up too, all instantly sizing each other up. Second, Chen doesn't waste any time showing his true power. Now, he's at the Heavenly Flag Realm peak stage, right? A seriously high cultivation level. But he absolutely demolishes 2 group leaders who are picking on weaker teams, like lightning fast. It was overwhelming. This move rockets their score up by 430 points, putting them at 440. Nice. And finally, suddenly this global ranking board pops up, showing all the top dogs. Chen clocks that his group isn't in the top 16. Not yet, anyway. The number 1 spot already has a massive 2,530 points, but crucially, his attention locks onto Chen, ranked 2nd. Looks like we've got a major rival showdown brewing. Chen's early power play really sets the stage for a ruthless fight for survival and dominance here.
This is the brief on the Great Ruler, episode 97. Okay, so what's happening? Well, the 5 Great Academies competition over on that massive ancient celestial continent, yeah, it's seriously escalating. We're seeing these huge gaps in scores and some really cutthroat strategies flying around as everyone scrambles for the top spot. And, those ancient treasures. First thing you need to know, the leaderboard has kind of shocked everybody. Right, while loads of teams are struggling just to get points on the board, Wanhong Academy is just way out front with over 3,300 points. Seems like they've got this strategy down, clearing out enemy spawn points, those spots where resources pop up. And get this, you now need at least 1,500 points just to crack the top 16. Pretty intense. Second big development, Chen. He's pushing this incredibly bold, super high-risk strategy. He's actually convinced his team, Lo Li, Shi Hao, Zhao Qingshan, and Mu Fingyang, to forget the weaker groups and start hunting the really powerful top-ranked academies. Their first target, Ananta Academy, ranked 11th, a really prestigious school known for its strength. And finally, this is where it gets really juicy. Chen's group tracks down Ananta Academy, but guess what? They're already surrounded by 4 other powerful factions, and one of them is Teen Academy. Yeah, one of the top 5 elite schools. Turns out, it's not just about the competition points anymore. Everyone's after info on some ancient treasure Ananta Academy supposedly has. Oh, and this whole mess reignites a personal rivalry for Chen with Qiu Beihai from Teen Academy, someone he remembers from that big divine war. So, bottom line, Chen's daring strategy has basically tossed his team right into the middle of this super dangerous multi-team showdown over points and those invaluable ancient secrets. This is the brief on Chen's unveiled power. Okay, so picture this. A super tense martial arts face-off during the 5-sex competition. We've got Chen's team from Beiberchong Academy up against rivals like Chuper High, and trust me, things are about to get wild. First off, nobody is giving Chen's group much credit, right? Chuper High and his buddies, they've got this higher body power calamity cultivation level, and they're basically laughing at Chen's heaven-flashing stage-late power. They kind of forget he earned that Blood Reaper nickname back in the God-slaying war. Big mistake. Second, Chen's friend, Roly, she steps up and, bam, takes down a body power calamity leader just like that. Oh, and get this, she's the one who famously sliced off Chuper High fingers during that same war. Yeah, that definitely changes the mood. Finally, Chen just unleashes his real strength. Even though his cultivation level looks lower, he goes head-to-head with both Chuper High and another body power calamity fighter, Senjun. He uses this awesome divine spear against Chuper High, then crushes Senjun with his 4 divine beast seal, a technique using this cool black and white yin-yang spiritual energy and sheer physical force. He badly hurts Senjun, even seals his cultivation. Everyone's just stunned. So yeah,
Mu Chen and Ro Li completely flipped the script, showing everyone that real power isn't just about the cultivation level you see.
This is The Brief on the Great Ruler, episode 99. So let's jump right into The Great Ruler, episode 99. It's this really action-packed segment, you know? It shows off the brutal power plays and some really smart strategies that make these big fantasy competitions tick. First up, this episode makes it super clear that raw power, yeah, that's often what decides things. You've got Ruo Li and Mu Chen from Bichong Academy, that's like an elite school, right? Showing off some just astonishing strength. Really, she just whips out her sword technique and takes down 5 rivals like it's nothing, making them hand over all their points. And Mu Chen, even though his cultivation stage, think of it like a power level, is technically lower, he completely demolishes this other guy, Qiu Beihai, who's supposed to be stronger. Mu Chen uses his Thunder God's Hand, this awesome skill, and just crushes Qiu Beihai's big attack. Really shows you skill can beat rank, huh? Okay, but it's not just about raw power. Second thing, Mu Chen is seriously smart about strategy. Like, after they grab a ton of points for their academy, he actually decides not to aim for the top 16 right away. Why? Well, his thinking is pretty sharp. Jump up too fast, and bam, you become a huge target for the other big players. So yeah, it's a smart move, you know? Conserve energy, stay under the radar for a bit, and finally, this episode really shows how brutal losing can be in this world. That antagonist, Qiu Beihai, he doesn't just get beaten physically, he's totally humiliated, forced to run away, completely disgraced. And Mu Chen, he doesn't let up. He uses his rep to scare off other groups. He even pulls this clever move where he rescues another academy, then kind of forces them to hand over their points. Talk about ruthless, right? But effective. So yeah, it really drives home this brutal truth. In this competition, it all comes down to power, smarts, and yeah, even old grudges shaping everything. This is The Brief on the Great Ruler, episode 100. Okay, so picture this. A huge world, full of martial arts, ancient secrets. You know the vibe. Our guy, Mu Chen, he's sharp, and he's leading his crew from Nante Academy through this really dangerous ancient continent. And believe me, the choices he's making, they could change everything for them. First up, Mu Chen pulls off this really smart strategic shift. See, everyone else is just rushing around trying to score points in this big competition. But Mu Chen, he gets it. He realizes that just makes them like, well, fat sheep waiting for the really strong hidden players. So he convinces his team, look, we gotta chase real power, ancient treasures, old inheritances. That's the long game. Pretty clever, right? Second, we dive into some ancient mysteries and what Mu Chen himself is chasing. Using, let's say, his charm and maybe a little bit of pressure, he gets some crucial info from another group about these old ruins. Why are they so important? Well, Mu Chen is hunting for clues about 3 legendary natural treasures. These things are incredibly rare, okay? Stuff he needs to master the sun god body. Think of it as this super powerful martial arts technique to buff up your physical form. Even top masters would kill for this stuff. And finally, get ready because it looks like a big showdown is brewing at those ruins. As Mu Chen and his new buddies head over, they find out, they're not the only ones. Lots of other tough groups are closing in, after the same secrets. And there are strong hints that a powerhouse team from Sheng Academy, maybe even led by the very formidable Jikan, is already there. So yeah, expect some serious competition. Mu Chen's journey really highlights the brains and guts you need in a world packed with ancient power and danger, especially with his own future, and someone named Luoli's fate on the line.